ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.2 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review video. Now today we're going to be taking a look, finally, at none other than Gamora herself. She's been a long time coming. This is kind of the white whale, the unicorn of the collecting community. They've been making a bunch of memes, they've been saying, where on earth is Gamora? Finally, she is here, and fingers crossed she lives up to the hype. Now, I picked up mine from toyswonderland.com. She is in stock and ready to ship right now. Link for that is, of course, in the description below. They do have 12-month installment plans if you're a fan of paying off your figures over time. Also, while you are down there, why not hit that subscribe and bell notification icon so you're notified as soon as brand new content goes live on the channel. Why not also check out the join button for Justin's collection, plus for early access to some videos as well as a 5% off code for toyswonderland.com. What we are going to do now though is get the box laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. And here of course we have the box art for Gamora herself. It's been a while since we've seen this style of box artwork. Of course, this is the last figure in the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 line. We haven't really seen this design since way back in 2017. Honestly, I don't know why they didn't just brand this as Avengers Infinity War or Endgame. Take your pick. I don't know why they didn't do that. That would have worked perfectly fine, at least for me. At the very least, though, I do love the design of the box here with the speaker motif. It is sort of ribbed and raised, so you can feel the texture of the speaker. Gamora's face printed on the front and a nice green motif. The cool thing is you can see the Awesome Mix Volume 2 just inside that window there, looking absolutely fantastic. A really nice Guardians patch featuring, of course, the Milano stuck there on the side, and on the back, all of the relevant legal information. Now let's get this figure out here. It's been a long time coming. I know people were getting impatient. It was becoming a running joke, but finally she's here. I really do like this sort of circuit board insert with, of course, the tape and some circuits all around, with the final one being the Hot Toys logo. Now this figure does come with a little bit of controversy. Some people are really happy with the final sculpt and the hair and the outfit as well, but some people aren't. We'll have to get to the bottom of why that is throughout the course of this video. But finally, here we have Gamora in hand. She is covered in a bunch of plastic, so what we are going to have to do is, of course, take all of this off to take a proper look at the figure herself. But I have to say, so far, the outfit at least looks pretty darn impressive. Now, of course, as you can see, she comes with a bunch of stuff in the tray here, so what we are going to do now is get all of this stuff laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything she comes with. And here we have all of the accessories that come with Gamora. Now, as you can see, it's kind of slim pickings. She doesn't come with a hell of a lot of stuff, but there is one really interesting inclusion that honestly I didn't even remember them putting up when the pre-orders went live. Now let's take a look at the display base first. This is all kinds of nostalgic. It's the old Hot Toys Age of Ultron style display base. We don't really see these anymore because they have been moved on. They've been sort of phased out in favor of the new hexagonal style ones. Would I have preferred one of those? Absolutely, it would have been more in keeping with the rest of the Infinity War and the Endgame line, but still, this is a decent display base. The print is rather nice. I like the glossy effect on top, and the nameplate is printed on the front. No, it's not metal, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to be doing that anymore, at least for Marvel figures. Now, she does come with, of course, her little jetpack here. Unfortunately, it's super fragile. You can see these pieces are super duper thin. They sort of clip in on the sides there, so please, do be careful when you're unboxing your Gamora, because on mine, they actually came loose out of the box. You could see where they'd been glued together at that section right there, so I had to just apply a drop of super glue and connect them back up. But you can hear it sort of creaking and cracking in place. Just be careful. I do at the very least love the sculpt and of course the paint apps as well. It looks like a metallic piece. There's a flake, there's a nice texture throughout, and it looks almost like Mandalorian's Beskar armor. It's a really nice finish, and I love the way they've done it. Now, the piece that I was quite surprised that they included was this secondary shirt. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge to take off the super intricate outfit on Gamora in order to swap out this shirt. I will try and do it throughout the course of this video, but if not for reviewing it, I normally wouldn't have even bothered to apply this shirt. It's not a huge notable sort of staple outfit for Gamora, in my personal opinion. I like the outfit she comes wearing far and away more than the red shirted appearance. Now, she does come with a baby Groot. For those of you who don't know, pretty much all of the figures in the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 line came with their very own baby Groot. This one is carrying the little bomb. I love the detail on the bomb itself, and Groot is super nicely sculpted. He appears a little bit bigger than some of the previous ones, but that's fine with me. It means you're getting even more detail, especially in the little bomb device, and I do like this sort of semi-translucent bone effect of these pieces right there. It's a really nice, well-sculpted, well-painted little baby Groot. Now, in terms of weapons, she does come with this big old honkin' blaster, and it looks really good. It's surprisingly thin, but it does look like something that would come out of the Guardians of the Galaxy universe. I do love the paint apps, this sort of stippling effect around the entire thing. It makes it look sort of oil-stained and torn and war damaged, and it just looks sort of nasty, and that kind of works very nicely for the effect that they're going for in Guardians of the Galaxy. It looks like a metal piece. When I talk about Iron Man figures and I say they're missing that sort of level of wear and tear, I'm not talking about battle damage, I'm talking about this sort of grease effect and the little stippling effect of the black throughout the metal. It just brings the entire thing to life. Now, she does come with two different versions of her blade. There's a collapsed version, and the detail on both is absolutely exceptional. You can see a wash on the crevices there, but also a super bright shiny silver for the blade. It is rather sharp, so do be careful not to prick yourself, but overall it's pretty much identical with what came with the original version of Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Now, of course, she does come with a wide array of hands. The interesting thing to note here, though, is these ones come with these metal bracer sections, whereas you also get hands for the right side that doesn't. Do let me know down in the comments below what I have forgotten since watching Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 in terms of these bracer sections. Are they to do with the jetpack? I'm quite curious. Let me know down below. But I have to say, the skin tone in terms of the green is really nicely applied. You can see there are multiple layers. You can see the veins and the sort of sinew of the hand there. It looks really darn good. And of course, the hands are soft enough so you can easily pry them apart and pop the sword in there without having to worry. That's the benefit of the Hot Toys female figures, are the fingers are a little bit thinner, so that means you can apply the accessories even easier. What we are going to do now, though, is get the figure herself out here and take a closer look. And here we have Gamora standing straight up and down the lightbox, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. And I have to say, I think this figure was worth the wait. There, I said it. Honestly, she is that darn good. She is far and away, in my personal opinion, superior to the original release. Namely in a few key areas. First of all, the sculpt. This, in my opinion, is hands down Zoe Saldana shrank down into 1/6 scale format, and of course, painted green. It looks just like Gamora from the film itself. The detail is on point, the paint apps are sharp and crisp, and the outfit looks exceptional. Also, they've done away with those pesky, seamless arms. Now you can pose her, at least without the trench coat on, without fear of damaging anything. There are a couple of complaints though, yes, granted, but in my personal opinion, at first glance, just taking a look at her posed up on a shelf in a really badass pose, I think that the good far outweighs the bad. Nevertheless, what we are going to do now is take her off the rotating turntable, punch in and take a closer look at the details. And here we have her up close and personal, and honestly, I don't really see what all the fuss was about in the negative sense. I don't know what people are complaining about. I think Hot Toys absolutely nailed it with this head sculpt. I see Zoe Saldana through and through. The sculpt is on point, the paintwork is fantastic, and even the rooted hair looks pretty decent. Would I have preferred them to go with sculpted? Absolutely. Why do you say that, Justin? Well, just look at it. You can see it's going absolutely everywhere. It's a frizzy mess. I've literally just taken this out of the box and done the review. There's been no crazy posing or anything like that whatsoever, and it's already getting all crazy. Yes, I know, if I sat there and I spent ages combing it and using hair product, I could get it to look just right, but I don't really have the time to do that. I'd much rather just take it out of the box and for it to look perfect 100% of the time. You can only really achieve that with sculpted hair. Nevertheless, rooted hair rant is over. The paint apps on the face look really darn nice. They're very, very sharp. You can see a lot of skin textural detail there, and it perfectly matches with the neck. Although the neck is a rubbery style material which affords you a crazy range of motion. That's insane and really, really impressive. I don't know what type of material Hot Toys are using here, but I'm very glad that it's being used on the neck and not the arms. The arms are actually jointed. You can see the joints in there. They're double jointed. That means that you won't be damaging your arms themselves. Yes, if you are bending them for a long period of time, you may damage the jacket. But you could, of course, just switch it out for the red shirt she comes with. Then you won't have any pleather on the upper torso. You can have her in some really badass, crazy poses and not have to worry about damaging this pleather-style jacket. She does come with a vest that is removable from the side here. You just undo the zipper, and you can take it off and pop the red shirt on. One cool thing, though, about the jacket is it's wired. Don't get me wrong, it's a very subtle wire. It's super thin, but that means when it's draping down by her sides, it looks really natural, but it still holds a very nice pose. Super classy touch by Hot Toys. The belts themselves aren't made out of a pleather. They are a rubbery style piece, and that's definitely a good thing. The one thing that deteriorates the quickest, for me at least, are belts on Hot Toys figures. Having this made out of rubber is a huge plus, in my personal opinion. The pants themselves are a pleathery style material, but honestly, they don't feel like the type of pleather that will degrade over time. They feel a little bit thicker and a little bit sturdier, so fingers crossed they'll stand the test of time. Moving down to the boots. Yes, unfortunately, they've done like what they've done in other releases. This is a fixed plastic rubbery style boot. No ankle articulation whatsoever. I can feel it. There is a joint on the inside there, but unfortunately, it's one solid piece. You can't make use of that joint. Hot Toys, why do you insist on doing this? Just put a split in there. Nobody would have noticed because this panel comes down the front. It would have been perfectly seamless, but unfortunately, they didn't do it. That means you're going to have even less ankle articulation. If there's one thing that grinds my gears on this figure the most, it's the fact that they didn't use a split-cut boot design on the boots. Now for a quick side-by-side comparison, this is the latest Infinity War version of Star-Lord compared to Gamora, and I have to say I think this height works really well. She is roughly the exact same height as the V1 Gamora, which I never really had too much of a problem with. I do like the more punchy, vibrant green, and obviously the enhanced detail in the sculpt and the paint applications. She much better matches the newer released figures than the older ones from the Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.1 lineup. So yes, I am glad that they waited just a little bit to get her 100% right, but still I do think she should have come in the Infinity War or Endgame lines. Next up, here we have Gamora standing alongside Drax. As you can see, significant size difference between these two, and I think that works really nicely. Do I think we need an updated version of Drax? Yes, absolutely. Do I think it's the body that needs updating? No, honestly, I really don't. I think the body looks really good on Drax. Yes, there could be a little bit more definition and the color looks a little bit dim, but honestly, I never had a huge issue with it. The head sculpt, on the other hand, that newer one that they showed off at some of the cons, looked absolutely fantastic. I've still got my fingers and my toes crossed that eventually we're going to be getting a 2.0 version of Drax. And here we have Rocket Raccoon standing alongside Gamora, and I have to say this works perfectly fine. It's the same outfit he was wearing in Guardians 2. It's also the Infinity War outfit. Same thing with Gamora. She can pretty much go in either of the two films. That's what I like about her. She's got the versatility, but unlike Rocket, she didn't get a Infinity War re-release, and same thing with Star-Lord. Will they maybe eventually do that, and we'll have to wait another 2 to 3 years for her? Fingers crossed, they don't. And here we have Gamora from Volume 2 standing alongside Nebula, and I have to say, there is a significant size difference between these two. It might not appear that significant on camera, but trust me, in person, Nebula is a much bigger character. Apparently, Karen Gillan is actually that tall. I don't know if Zoe Saldana is that much shorter than Karen. You'll have to let me know down in the comments below, but the one thing they do share, which is, trust me, not a good thing, is is the lack of a split-cut boot design. They can both look janky as heck, standing on their display bases, with their feet not being flat at all to the ground. And here we have the version 1 Gamora standing alongside the version 2. There are so many differences between these two releases. Not only is the sculpt completely different, the body as well. This is an all-new body. It's slightly taller, the proportions look more accurate. Also, the skin tone is a lot more vibrant, but at the same time, looks even more realistic. A lot of people were saying the first one got the skin tone right. Trust me, go back and look at some screenshots of Gamora from Guardians Volume 2. She was this more punchy, vibrant green. This color is far and away more accurate. And of course, this review wouldn't be complete without a side-by-side comparison next to the Infinity War version of Thanos. And I have to say, these two look fantastic standing side by side. Finally, there is a Gamora that nicely matches the skin texture and detail of Thanos. It kind of looked like you had a plastic or Play-Doh version of Gamora standing next to your Thanos with the V1. For the time, she was really good, but now with the advancements that Hot Toys have made in the skin texture and detail in the paint apps, it just looked a little bit janky, whereas this new one, far and away in my personal opinion, looks better. And finally, here we have the entire team from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, fully assembled, including that teeny tiny very cute Baby Groot, and this looks fantastic. Was there any doubt? I personally was kind of a little bit wary. I didn't know if Gamora was going to be as good as I was hoping she was, but thankfully she is. I can pretty much unequivocally say that she completes this set marvelously, and finally, there's no more waiting. We don't have to keep asking hashtag where is Gamora. Now I guess we can start asking hashtag where is Cap, because he's starting to get a little bit slow in terms of the eventual release as well. Fingers crossed, he comes out very soon. Now, for what it's worth, I quickly wanted to compare the original Gamora and the new one up close, because I know someone would definitely have asked me what they look like side by side. There are some significant changes between the two, most notably the sculpt. The original, for some reason, had an overly large head. Also, she had this sort of dead-eyed stare that the new one kind of has, but also kind of doesn't. I can see a sassiness in the expression there, and I much prefer the detail in the skin. Granted, the new one is that. It's newer, therefore you're going to get newer, updated technologies in the paint app and in the sculpting process. Therefore, I'm still not entirely sure why people are saying the original one is the superior release. This color of skin tone is far more accurate to how Gamora appears now in the modern day MCU compared to this one, which just isn't quite right. Just going over articulation on Gamora. Now, bear in mind, this is my personal copy of the figure, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful. I'm sure when you get yours in hand, you can push the joints slightly further than I'm willing to go. Now, starting off with the head sculpt itself, it is on a fixed neck, but that neck is made out of a rubbery material. So as you can see, going forward and back, side to side, and swivel is pretty much a non-issue. It's a really nicely articulated neck for Gamora. The arms themselves go up pretty much unrestricted to about there, all the way forward, which is a really nice touch for something that's wearing a leather jacket. I wouldn't have expected that, but they nailed it. Now, she does have a double bend at the elbow and a swivel there at the upper bicep. The cool thing is these arms are jointed. They aren't seamless. That means you don't have to worry about cracking and deterioration over time. You can even ditch the leather jacket and the leather internals of the outfit if you want to go for the red shirt, because of course it's material. You don't have to worry about ruining the outfit as well. So it's a pretty nice and sturdy figure. For the wrists themselves, regular 1/6 scale Hot Toys style wrist pegs. The torso is pretty much unrestricted going forward and back, swivel and pivot side to side. The legs go forward to about there, they go out to about there, swivel at the upper thigh, which is rather stiff, double bend there at the knee, which again is really nice and firm. But for the ankles, unfortunately I do have to report no ankle articulation whatsoever. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things about Gamora. The first annoying thing is this display base. I know, she's technically from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, but let's be honest, that movie is ancient history at this point. They should have gone ahead and made this an Infinity War release, done a bit of a pivot, and let collectors know, like they did for the Hulkbuster, hey, we're changing things up. The only thing that's different is going to be the display base is going to say Infinity War or Endgame. I would have been perfectly fine with that, and I know a lot of collectors would have been as well. The second annoying thing isn't the inclusion of this jetpack, it's the fact that mine was completely busted out of the box. These sections that are glued together were completely loose. You can also see that they are super flimsy, and I do feel like over time, if you are using this jetpack a whole bunch, these little strap pieces will continuously fall off. The third annoying thing is no ankle articulation. Hot Toys, why? There is a natural sort of split around the back with this covering over the front there. You could have gotten a joint in there. Trust me, it could have been done. But they didn't do it. That's just criminal. I don't know why they didn't take the time to get this right. This figure has been delayed a whole bunch. Everyone knows it. Could it have been because they were sort of deciding, hey, should we do the ankle articulation? Obviously not, because they didn't end up doing it. The first cool thing about Gamora has to be that head sculpt. I know a lot of people have their issues with this figure, and I honestly can't tell why, because this head sculpt looks absolutely fantastic. That screams Zoe Saldana. I can see her in that sculpt. The paint apps are pretty much impeccable. There's skin texture and detail throughout. This might just be, in my personal opinion, one of Hot Toys' best. The second cool thing on Gamora has to be the wire that goes through the entire length of the jacket. Something they didn't have to do, but honestly, I'm so very glad that they did. The third cool thing, while it is a bit of a pain to switch this second outfit option onto the body itself, it's still cool that they did it. Usually when it comes to super intricate outfits such as this, and head sculpts with rooted hair, I couldn't be bothered switching it out, but this time, I'm actually quite glad that Hot Toys gave us this piece to swap out onto the figure, because it basically maximizes articulation. You don't have a leather jacket and this leather sort of vest section to contend with, it's just a material style fabric stretchy shirt. That means you can get really awesome poses from the upper torso. Just wrapping up on the Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.2 Gamora. This figure has been a long time coming. I know a lot of people are frustrated. Where's Gamora? When is she coming out? Finally, she's here, and of course, less like any other Hot Toys release, she's met with a little bit of controversy. I'm still not exactly sure what people's issues are with her. Maybe it's the sculpt, maybe it's the color of the green. I sure as hell hope that it is the lack of split-cut boot design, because that's what's peeving me right about now. But then again, at the same time, this figure is a big step up from the original in terms of the paint app, in terms of the sculpt, and of course, in terms of the articulation. I think that this one with the actual jointed elbows is an improvement over the original, and I know a lot of people really do like that original figure. The one thing that I really don't like, aside from the ankles obviously, is the rooted hair. I think they could have killed it with a proper sculpted hair Gamora. Yes, the debate rages on. Justin, it would be more realistic with rooted hair. Yes, I'm hearing you, but in the same vein, it gets super frizzy, and it kind of messes up the look entirely in my personal opinion. Why wouldn't you want something that 110% of the time taking it straight out of the box looks perfect? You'd rather sit there and futz with hair over and over again to get it to look just right, just not something that I personally can connect with. Now, if you'd like to pick up your very own Gamora, she is in stock right now with toyswonderland.com. Link for that is of course in the description below. They do have a Black Friday 5% off store-wide sale now on. Enter the code TW2020 at checkout, and you can use it in conjunction with your rewards points. Also, if you are heading down to the description, why not check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the awesome Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.